How are you doing today? How are you doing today? I am your host, Lacey G. Soldier Turner. And today I got a very, very special guest with me. She's an actress, a model, a talk show host, an author. She was on the multi-Emmy award-winning daytime game show, The Price is Right, for a decade. She is part of the 30-year cult classic iconic film, Friday, one of the most funniest films ever created. She's been on Grey's Anatomy, Harlem Nights, a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? She's been doing that thing out here for a long time. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the platform the wonderful, amazing, talented Kathleen Bradley. Man, welcome to the platform.
Hey, hi there. Hi, boys.
It's good to have you on the platform. You are an iconic figure in the film world. So before we get into what I want to talk about, can you let the people know where were you born and raised and how was your upbringing as a child?
Well, I was born by the river. No, I'm originally from Girard, Ohio, born in Youngstown, Ohio. Girard, one and the same, which is about 45 miles east of Cleveland and west of Cleveland and east of Pittsburgh, right in between there. It was really wonderful. Great growing up where I came from. I had 4 brothers and I had lots of cousins and aunts and uncles. My dad worked in the steel mill when it was really thriving and people were doing relatively well back in those days. And the family life was great, with a lot of love, a lot of concern, just a lot of good butt whippings. We got our behinds whipped when we didn't do the right thing. So some of these kids need that nowadays, more of that. But neither here nor there. They're scared to death. If you just look at them the wrong way, they're going to report you behind. But it was wonderful, and I'm glad, the schools I went to were very good at that time, and just, not a lot of the strife and craziness and stuff that's going on today. So I was blessed in that respect, which I'm sure has helped form me and molded me into the person I am today.
Like that. I like it. So, I did a little bit of research. So can you tell the people about the spot Mavericks Flat and the 7 girl group, the Love Machine that you was a part of with Motown and all that type of stuff?
Right, absolutely. So let me just start back when I was in Girard, Youngstown, Ohio. Before graduating, really at the age of 8, I always inspired to be an actor or an actress and be in the show business. My mother used to take me to the movie theater and see that silver screen and big screen with a lot of people and actors in it, and I wanted to do that. And so actually I did enter into pageantry when I was back in Ohio, and variety shows and singing and what have you. And I always knew I wanted to come to California, and fortunate enough for me, one of my very best girlfriends and her family, they moved from Youngstown to Los Angeles a year before I graduated. So I was so fortunate to know that I had someone close at hand that I could come stay with and look out after me, because I doubt that I would have been able to really come all that way by myself on my own and not having a plan or somebody to stay with. It could be kind of frightening for a young girl, a little country girl. But I did enter into several pageants when I got here in Los Angeles. I did get a little gig at the Southern California Gas Company, don't quit your day job. But as it turned out, the John Daniels from Mavericks Flat, which Mavericks Flat, they consider the West Coast Apollo Theater, because a lot of entertainers have come through there. But John Daniels was the head person for the West Coast Miss Black America Beauty pageant. He headed up the Miss Black California pageant. So I got in the pageant and I won Miss Black California. I must say it was in 1971. I know that's hard to believe, but it's the
That's
truth.
hard, definitely hard to believe.
And as a result of that, John, he had put together several different groups before as producer and just directing the groups and doing everything. And he had been very successful with several others. And he went into an all-female group together of 7 girls, which at that point, there were a few other girls from the beauty pageant who he chose and thought would fit well, and some other girls from different places that would come into club and dance and what have you. And he put us all together. Kathleen Bradley, Sandra Sully, Mary Hopkins, Renee Gentry, Sheila Dean, Paulette Gibson, Bernice Gibbons, all the girls, the Love Machine, 7 girls. We were like Tina Turner on steroids. We were like the Temptation, honey, like the Beyonce of our day. We were very scantily clad. We had like hip huggers on. We had like bikini pants. We had midriffs. We had these jean outfits. We had caps on. We had platform boots this thick and long, 6-inch platform boots, boy. I would come out and do the very first song of the show, because I did do quite a bit of the lead with the group. I would come out, do a cartwheel and a split, and I'd say, "Hey, big brother, as soon as you arrive, the crowd would go wild." We had a great time, though. We had an 8-piece band as well. So, we had a full band and just traveling on the road and all the experiences, and I do attribute the wonderful greatness of John Daniels and everybody that was involved in that is really, once again, shaping and molding me in my life for things to come.
Yeah, I saw one of your, I went to look up one of the videos. You were singing Rock Steady. You had to malfunction like Janet Jackson, but you kept going up in his face.
Oh, yeah, right. You saw that one in Paris.
Yeah.
That was a big faux pas, but I had to keep on going. Rock Steady. Boy, we've had some times. We could tell some stories, which I think might be one of my other books coming out one of these days. I definitely will change the names. I do not want to have anybody feel like, "Ooh, she telling on your girl." You'll never know.
You'll never know. So, Miss Kathleen, have you ever got like the Pam Grier comparisons?
All the time. I used to get it all the time. I had actually my nose, I had a deviated septum, which if people don't know what that is, it's your bone right here is crooked. And I'd always have problems breathing in my nose and stuff. So actually, when I had my nose done to get that medical problem repaired, the guy, the doctor, he went in, he said, "Oh, let me shave this ball off for you a little bit. Let me shave it off." I said, "Okay, just a little bit." And I think he really shaved off a little bit too much, because right now I got 2 different profiles of my face, which is weird. But Pam's nose was like that. Mine was like that back then. And when I first came, people were saying, "Oh man, you remind me of Pam Grier, doesn't she, honey?" As a matter of fact, Marguerite Simpson, O.J. Simpson's wife, we used to all hang out together. Al Cowlings was my very first boyfriend when I got here to Los Angeles. My dear friend cousin Terry Scott introduced me, because her husband was Bubba Scott. He played with they were from with USC. They were part of the Wild Bunch football team. So I met Alan and OJ were friends. We used to always go to this place called the Candy Store. Pam was a DJ. She was spinning records and stuff. And Marguerite said, "Huh, you look just like this girl, the DJ up there, the DJ." So I really met her way back then. And we just absolutely did look a lot alike back in those days and everything. And I remember one time in particular when she was filming one of her movies. I can't remember which one it was, but she had an afro and she was looking up, and I guess the camera was looking down on her. She was walking in and looking around. I looked at her. I had taken her back. I'm like, that was me. That looked just like me in that one in particular shot. But I know along the way she and I did favor a lot, but that one particular shot I will always hold in my mind, because I'm like, damn, you're looking like at yourself. I wish I had that money then.
Some of that money.
But yeah, Pam Grier, she's a cool person. I'd seen her several times after that at various places, and we'd run into each other and what have you.
Okay. So one thing I'll talk about, you was the first African-American model on The Price is Right for 10 years. How was that experience? And then how did you also feel when like they let you go?
that in itself was a big platform for me. My actually, I had just had my son for my second marriage. My son, I think it was 3 months after I had my son, my agent called and said, Kathleen. She said, there's a place for you. They are auditioning for a new Bob Barker Beauty on The Price is Right. And they want a Black woman in particular. You would be perfect for it. I'm like, okay. But just having had my child, and I have a daughter. She was like 11 years older than my son from my first marriage. But I always kept in good shape because in this business, you never know when you're going to be called upon, and you just really want to have yourself together, pregnancy or not. That's why I said, with all these women talking about it, I still got baby fat after 2 years. That's bullshit. Okay, you got your fat. That baby don't have nothing to do with that fat. But I would always work, and I work out, and I was in pretty good shape at the time. And I had like a week or two to really get in shape because they wanted to see me in a swimsuit. So I went on the audition, and I talked to the producers and everything, and disrobed and had my little basic black swimsuit on. And they liked me a lot, and they called me back in to do a taping on the show, a live taping. And they really just liked me a lot. The girls liked me, and they saw about maybe 250 girls. It was a long, arduous time period for them to be auditioning different people, different women over the period of time. But I mean, it turned out obviously in my favor. And I think one reason, a lot of the other young ladies that tried out, they were a little younger. And Janice, Holly, and Diane, they're my age, and they didn't want a little young whippersnapper or somebody that could be their child on the show with them, at that point. So the chemistry had to be right. And then the age range and the look and everything had to be right as well. So it all just really worked out on my behalf, and getting along with the women. And I know a lot had to do with my having been so worldly traveled and traveling the world, because I had so much to talk to them about. And, I felt very confident and good in my skin, and I didn't feel intimidated by them. None of that. Sometimes, maybe a few times, I might have got a little cocky. I had to get my coattail pulled to me. My sister-in-law was working with Goodson Productions. She said, Kathleen, don't talk so much about some things you did before, just a little bit too much. Not that I was being cocky. I was just being myself, Yeah, and so I learned from that mistake, but it worked out, thank goodness.
Okay, so what was that experience like? Because you was on her 10 years, but when they let you go,
it was great though. For the 10 years I was on the show, for the most part, it was really very, very good, and I got a lot of good exposure. Like I said, Bob Barker was a sweetheart when I got on there. All the girls, we were good friends, and Diane, Holly, and Janice did not get along. I didn't know that until after a while when I got on the show. So Diane befriended me, and she and I were like real tight. But I was not going to have anybody that I liked more or less than the other. And I didn't get into any, chatting, a little menial, little bull crap stuff and all that. I was going for that. So it all kind of worked out in my favor. But Diane, she left. She accused Bob Barker of sexual harassment. If anybody knows the story out there, she and Bob were having a consensual relationship, and I got there. And he just at some point told her he didn't want to do it anymore. He kind of didn't do it the right way and let her down or let her go. And she was a woman scorned. So when she left the show, because she had been doing Playboy magazine as well. Playboy magazine. She did it twice. And one time, and after the second time, Mark Goodson Productions, the real Mr. Mark Goodson said, nobody's going to do that again. Don't do it. It's a family show.
Yes.
How do you feel? We're doing this and turning letters and all the family on and watching in the daytime and stuff. It's like you look at somebody a little different after you've seen the titties. You know what I mean? Yeah, look at them a whole lot differently. She was already like a sex bomb. She was already just a voluptuous, beautiful person. And it's like that. And it just really didn't represent, the values of The Price is Right and what we stood for. But after she got off the show, she decided she was going to sue him for sexual harassment. She knew it wasn't true, but she saw the younger Gina Lee Nolan come on and take her place, and I'm sure she was like,
Yeah.
wow. I know she missed it. I know she admired it not being on the show, and her career didn't go in the direction that she wanted it to go to and into. Unfortunately, when she left, I think she had ideas of grandeur and people going to just eat her up and bring her into the fold and have her do this or that in the industry, and it didn't quite happen for her. But Bob, he said, I'm not paying that woman one red penny, which he didn't, because it wasn't, and everybody pretty much knew the whole story around the set, what was happening with her and Bob and what have you. So it was kind of interesting. After that, he was not ever the same. Once you get accused of something, whether it's true or false, and especially if it's false, it's very harmful to your career and to your reputation, especially for Bob Barker, the all-American, good-looking guy, and the people who love him, and the families and folks that come there to do stuff. And even when he was vindicated, the writing on the wall is that little in the middle page, 5 pages into the newspaper, whereas all the tabloids were just blowing it up, blowing it out of proportion. And that really tainted his persona. And after that, he was never the same. And he didn't really treat us the same way he used to. He kind of kept a little more distance from us and didn't let us speak anymore. He used to let us talk near the end of the show. If we had some spare time, he'd say, hey, Kathleen, so what are you doing this summer? None of that. Just little different things that had changed because of all that. And then it kind of snowballed into other stuff happening. But by and large, it was a good thing. And one real good thing that happened was I got discovered from Ice Cube.
Look, we about to get into that. So how did you get the role of the iconic film Friday, and how did that audition go?
Actually, once again, like I said, Ice Cube, when they were doing the movie, this is what somebody told me that he said, the casting people, I want that black lady on The Price is Right. I didn't have a name then, which was okay, even though Bob would say the lovely Kathleen. Nobody would kind of, Kathleen Bradley did not ring a bell in anybody's head like a Halle Berry or something. But people loved me, adored me, admired me, and all that stuff. But I was the black lady on The Price is Right, which was okay. So he saw me on the show, and I did have to go in and do a little audition. I think it was me and one or two other women or girls that tried out, and I just really kind of nailed it, and got the part, and all because I was on The Price is Right and very visible, which, like I said, being on the show really gave me a great opportunity to do some other things as well. But got on there. I did a couple of days on the shoot. Of course, I worked with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker and Tony Cox and the great Bernie Mac. Those were the primary people that I really had contact with and working with, though everybody was on set at some point in time, getting ready. I met, that's when I met Regina King and Anna Marie Horsford. Of course, I worked opposite her as well. And it just was such a great pleasure working and being there and doing what we were doing. And nobody ever imagined it would be at the magnitude that it is today, that cult, wonderful, setting the pace and the format for other movies for people to kind of emulate and try to copy. Just 30 years now. Can you believe it? 30 years we did that.
So let me ask you this. How was like the first day on set? You was water and dirt, but you made it look sexy. How was the first day on set?
The first day on set was, we did. That's when I met Ice Cube, and you know what? Ice Cube was actually at the when I did the audition. Oh, then I saw him again. Ice Cube and Chris Tucker and F. Gary Gray. My God, genius, F. Gary Gray. He had us all sit down, and we were talking, and we were doing the reading with, just rehearsal and saying the lines, this, that, and the other. And Chris Tucker was saying, "Hi, Miss Parker," and Miss Parker, and He was ad-libbing because he said, "When you gonna let me fuck Miss Parker?" That wasn't even in there, right? And then he said, "Miss Parker's a hoe. She knows she a hoe." I'm like, oh, I really didn't realize in the film or the part I was doing that Miss Parker was actually a loose woman. I would say a loose woman, but she
Yeah,
was
gonna
doing
say the
everybody in the
neighborhood
neighborhood.
hoe, just a loose woman.
And she was a loose woman. I took it back a little bit. I'm like, what? I said, that didn't sound very nice. I guess I was too naive. I didn't realize it. But then Gary said, no, man, that's a little harsh. Just say, Miss Parker, she know what she's doing. They kind of changed a few things around, did a little ad libbing and what have you. But it was just, at that time, the guys were the guys. Chris Tucker wasn't known then hardly. He was just another actor where I'm working with. And then, of course, Ice Cube, he had a lot of notoriety and was famous. And I was, really kind of pleased to be able to be working with him and on set, as well as with Bernie Mac, of course, who was legendary then at that time. And that was really a good time. He and I got a chance to really bond and know each other when we did the scene, because he had to go in the house. Yeah. Remember when he said, Miss Parker, Miss Parker, Lord, I know what I want, when we walked across the street. And when we both went into the house, when we had to wait there for a setup and everything for outside for them to change the camera around and do stuff. So we really bonded really well then. We had a great opportunity to know each other as friends and had some things in common, and him being in Chicago. And I was dealing with some vitamins and herbs and things that I turned him on to, which I thought he would like, and he did. And, I talked to his wife a couple of times and what have you. So that was really a great experience with him. And then Tony Cox, my husband, my little hubby, he and I still are friends to this day. We speak every now and then, and we play cards together when we have an opportunity. He loves to play bid whist. So we play bid whist and just, like I said, we communicate. He's just still a sweetheart, still working. And he's doing a few of these little Comic-Con shows and autograph signings and different things. But he was just a sweetheart, just a good little guy.
Okay. So, you work with like two of the, they iconic comedians there. So who was the funniest on set, Bernie Mac or Chris Tucker?
Well, Bernie Mac, he was funny. He's just normally naturally funny. He was funny. Just look at him with them big bug eyes. All he had to do say something. Hey, Miss Parker, what you talking about, boy? 2020 and all that stuff. But of course, I spent really more time with him, I think, than anybody else. Like I said, we spent time when we were in the house, before we came out to do the scene running. When he came out first, and then I came out after. My husband was throwing clothes and brick at him and everything. Yeah. But so he was just really just a delight to know, and a gentleman, and just a lot of fun at that time.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. How was the fitting of the outfit? Did you pick out the outfit? Because everyone loved that outfit. When you enticed all the young men forever, was your focus on being very sexual and sensual?
Well, obviously, I really didn't have anything to do with the choosing of the clothing and the outfit. As a matter of fact, I thought it was a little skimpy. The pants, okay, because I was used to wearing bathing suits, swimsuits, and bikinis on The Price is Right. So in front of people. So I was okay with that. And then I think when I put that top on, I'm like, this top was a little small. I didn't hardly fit. It was like, oh my. I thought it was a very risque top. I was a little bit kind of just like kind of shy about it a little bit, and then I guess I had it on long enough because everybody say, hi, Kathleen, how are you? It's like here, my eye level, not down there. You don't talk to the girls. So anyway, and it just obviously, F. Gary Gray, being the wonderful director that he is, he gave us a lot of freedom and artistic license to run with the being natural, just to do whatever came to us. So we didn't have to totally stick with all the wording in the script, but still keep with the whole frame of the idea of what we were doing. So it was staying some kind of continuity with the storyline. And he really allowed us to say and do a lot of different things. Like when I came out of the house, Bernie Mac and my husband was chasing me, and I had my robe on. I said, "We were just praying, honey. We was just praying." I made that up. That wasn't even in the script. I said, "We praying, just praying. We was just praying, honey." And like a lot of things there were made up, but that weren't in the script. That just worked. Things just worked, even with Angela. By Felicia, she will tell you her story as well, that when she was going across the street or did something and she sat on Ice Cube's arm or something, and she said her underwear just went up in her butt crack or something. And I think when she was leaving out, they were supposed to shoot it from a different angle. And she said, "No, shoot from behind, because that's when you can see when she's pulling her pants out of her butt crack," which is really a very famous scene that she had as well. And all those little things. And plus, we really only had, I think 28 days to shoot the whole film, which was unprecedented back then. Was because it was the budget. They just had to deal with, I think, $1 million budget or something. So we were not able to even take a lot of takes. I think if anything, we took 1 or 2, 3 takes max on a scene. And that's only if somebody flubbed up their lines or something like that. But with mine and Chris and I think we did maybe 2 or 3 takes. That was it. And, they changed the camera on around so they could re-angle it and get those angles, which they was getting from me and everything. So it was just,
yeah.
I know. And it's so amazing how people want to mimic me, how the ladies dress like Miss Parker, and the Halloween costumes named after Miss Parker. It's really so flattering, and the men want me, and the women want to be like me. Every time I meet somebody kind of light skin, long hair, something, they say, "Oh, my neighbor, my husband, them call me Miss Parker," and they do water their lawn and stuff. People say, "Hey, Miss Parker," to other people, and they're just so flattered. And to know that somebody's calling them Miss Parker is a really good thing, for the most part. Even Beyonce, she dressed up like Miss Parker for Halloween one time. I know Tina, her mom, Tina knows, and we were talking. She said, "Oh yeah, the whole family dressed up. They did the Friday theme. It was a while back. Everybody was doing different themes and different shows every year. They would dress. They said we did Friday's theme, and Beyonce was Miss Parker."
Miss Parker.
And I said, "Oh my God, I would love to see that picture." She probably has it somewhere. I think Tina was telling me about it. But just to think about things like that and how people mimic and me and as that character and how famous it was and still is. I mean, it's quite flattering.
Oh, definitely. So look, I write and direct films too, so I know we are our own harsh critics. So is there any like line or anything in your part on that you would love to change?
That I love what?
That you would love to change if you could go back and change?
Oh, yes. I was asked that question the other day when I was on the Byron Scott show. I would have just changed when I said, "Hi, boys," the way I said it differently. Because when he was walking by and everything, I was like, "Hi, boys." It was kind of nice and naive then. I guess it worked. But I think knowing more Miss Parker and the character, I think she would have been a little more seductive. And I was not that frame of mind as being so seductive, but I was in my actions when I did the water in the lawn. But when I spoke or said something, I wish I would have said, "Hi, boys," and just had it really slow and worked it and stuff. But I didn't. I would have changed that.
They already love you anyway. It's all good. So let me ask you this. It's been like 30 years, and people still watch it to this day. I watch it to this day. How has the film, I know you touched on this a little bit with people dressing up, but how has it like impacted your life, period?
Totally. It has totally impacted my life. It has, it's rare that I can go out somewhere that people don't know me or recognize me. maybe not so much in my neighborhood now and going to the grocery store, but sometimes I could hear whispers or people will look at me because a lot of people basically, oddly enough, still don't recognize me from Barker Beauty from The Price is Right. And I'll go in the store and I say, ain't you that black lady that was on The Price is Right? Weren't you on The Price is Right? The black lady on The Price is Right? I'm like, yeah. And then a lot of people don't really know, coordinate, but they're starting to find out now that I am Miss Parker and the first black model on The Price is Right. Some people know I was both. They're like, wow, two wonderful, monumental, iconic things, or I won't say iconic, but trailblazing parts that I've had in life, and I'm just so grateful for it. But people, especially I play golf and golf tournaments, the celebrity golf tournaments with a lot of the guys, and Byron Scott, Anthony Anderson, Cedric, those guys, and a whole bunch of others. And, the people that play with us are like sponsors and different things. And when they find out I'm Miss Parker and I get introduced out here and there's so-and-so and fine so-and-so playing with the Knicks and and Miss Parker, everybody's like, oh, they might not have known it was me. They like taking them, she, Parker. Oh, yeah. That's the first thing they do. I swear they do. Like, you really Miss Parker? Yeah, that's you. They go crazy, and it's funny. And they're like, their whole demeanor changes. I played golf with my husband on occasion. If we play in a foursome, there's two, he and I, and there's two more people that play. And young kids, guys, it doesn't matter sometimes. It doesn't matter. Everybody's pretty much have seen Friday. So they don't really recognize me at first or what have you. Then we'll be playing. And maybe halfway through the game, just for the heck of it, my husband will say to them, without me knowing or being around, do y'all know who you're playing with? They'll say, They'll say, did you see Friday? They'll say, yeah, that's Miss Parker. They're like, no. Man, their whole game changes and everything. And they just, it's so funny and it's fun and it's delightful. And I just love it when it's almost like not a prank, but it's just a whole different thing comes over people when they find out I'm Miss Parker. And not that of course they start treating me differently because they're like in awe and they can't believe it. And they're pleased and they're honored to be able to meet Miss Parker because people just love and adore Miss Parker. And it's just been a pleasure to be able to have people call me Miss Parker. People ask me, do I mind or get tired of it? No, never. I'm glad they do.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How was the premiere when you first seen it at the premiere? And did you expect it to be as iconic as it is today?
There's a plane going by here. I could barely hear you. What'd you say?
I said, how was it at the premiere when you saw it for the first time? And did you expect it to be iconic as it is today?
Oh, at the premiere, was just funny as heck. Everybody, it's one of those movies that just laugh out loud, a natural laugh. Some things you see that are kind of funny. You want to laugh a little bit. Like, you get it and you don't get it, and you feel sorry for the people trying to deliver a line and try to be funny, or you just look at it and say, that's not funny. Yeah. But honestly, Friday, when we first saw it, everybody in the screening was just like funny as hell. I could watch it to this day. I know it's coming. It's still funny as hell. It's so, what's the word I'm looking for? Unpretentious. Was what I want to say. Unpretentious with the lines, with the actions, and the way it was shot, and the things that had happened. So it's just very, very funny, and everybody enjoyed it so much that day. Nobody had a clue it was going to be ever as big as it is today. I mean, it's like up there with Gone with the Wind and all that kind of thing. Movies of Terminator and surpassing records from being one of the largest grossing movies at one point. Per capita, as you take the $1 million and you do that times 10, at a certain point, that was the highest grossing for that movie and the money that was spent on it. If people don't understand what that is, now you have the million and $1 billion shows where people might put in 100 million and get a gross $1 billion or something. And there's still that you got to get your money back first, where you say you grossed or earned so much money from the movies. But and needless to say, the residuals that come in are absolutely wonderful. It's been a cash cow. I love the residuals. People, for you out there, if you don't know what residuals are, when you're in the show business and do acting, what have you, and TV and movies and SAG after that Screen Actors Guild and the after American Television Radio Artists, which I've been a member for 70 since 1971. Wow. I just got my cards 1971. And when you do something that is under the jurisdiction of the union, SAG, AFTRA, and you've done it one time, you'll get paid for performing for one show or doing something. Say, for instance, I got paid for Friday back then, 30 years ago. And we didn't really get paid a lot then. I think it was Favorite Nations or something. Favorite Nations is when they have all the actors, they pay you. Everybody gets the same amount. So, nowadays actors get paid on their merit, maybe 10,000 one actor, 4 for the other. But back then nobody knew them. They only had a little budget. So we pretty much got paid a daily rate for everybody the same. But after shown and period of time, the money, every time they show it, you have and reuse, they have to pay the artist. And that money's been coming in like wonderfully well. It's like quarterly sometimes. And now they do Netflix, there's a certain rate they pay, and the streaming and different categories. It used to be like video play when they were doing videos and playing it, or people would rent the videos. But it has been very, very good to me. Okay.
All right, Miss Kathleen, you getting all the money. Loan me $5. Let's get
Oh no, it's not as much as you think it is. It's sometimes 1,000 or so, but that's 1,000 or so you never had for like 3 weeks or 3 months of not doing anything. So that's the beauty of it,
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this: what did you think about next Friday and Friday after next?
Wow, next Friday they could have kept that one. That was a big bust. I think I've seen it one time. I'm sure I saw it one time. I know I haven't seen it more than one time. I might like it a little better this time, knowing. But the thing is, none of us were in it that should have been.
Facts.
And how they just didn't even relate to the old neighborhood. A few of the other people were in it. What, John Witherspoon was in it. Who else was Tiny in it? Tiny Lester?
Yeah,
I can't even remember. That's how much
he was in it,
I didn't want to see it anyway because I wasn't in it. But and then the third one was, I think third one was much funnier with Cat Williams and Cliff. Oh my God.
Clifton
all
Powell.
Those people
Clifton Powell,
yeah, Clifton Powell. That's my friend. I know that was fun. I could see that one again. I think I saw that maybe once or twice. Okay. But I wouldn't mind seeing that one again. It was good, but it wasn't Friday. Yeah. It wasn't Friday, it was it was a different movie. Yeah. And I don't think it had much of anything to do with Friday, except for maybe a few characters that were in it from there. And of course, Day, he got his, big break on the second one and third. And I'm sure, now it's coming to be, obviously they said the new Friday has gotten the last Friday got the okay. Funding and everything, and Cube, and I guess whoever's going to be writing it, going at it, it's going to be very interesting to see how or where we fit in. Right. And people do want to see, at least revisit some thoughts of the old neighborhood. You don't have to shoot it, just bring it up. Just say, oh, reminisce. Sitting down with somebody, oh yeah, remember, man, Mr. Parker, Miss Parker, something that was there and stuff and everything. And just, hey, what about Felicia? Where's she at now? What's she doing? And they could people, let's at least reminisce on it or go back to it or show some excerpts. Especially like John Witherspoon, like Dad, how he could say, I miss Dad and everything. And definitely should have Anna Marie Horsford in it. That was his mom, okay?
Definitely, yeah. They need to put you in there too, Kathleen. They need to put you in there.
Huh?
They need to put you in there.
Yeah, they better put me in there. I'm a boycott. Yeah, me and Angela said the same thing. They got to revisit it a little bit because otherwise, it's Friday. It's the movie Friday. The beer that made Milwaukee famous. You don't change the recipe. Right. You can change it a little bit and add a little this, that, and the other too, but you still need those hops and those herbs that people originally liked from the beginning. You can mix it up a little bit, but don't forget those hops and those herbs and things that, yeast and all that made the beer famous. Man, come on. Give us a break. Give us a little bit of acknowledgement, little respect for helping to make that movie a big success, because everyone who was involved in it had such a wonderful part to portray and did it well. And the combination of everybody working on it and in it contributed to the success of Friday, made it what it is today. So Q, hopefully keep that in mind, and I'm sure you have, and he will.
Okay.
So we'll see. I just recently, well, actually, it's been almost a year. In July 2nd, I was in Cube's music video, his new video called "It's My Ego," and I hadn't seen him since probably John Weatherspoon's funeral, and we talked for a little bit and what have you, and so I was, pumping up, hey, the next one you better have Miss Parker there or whatever. But yeah, it was nice to see him and work on the video with him.
Okay. So let me ask you about one other movie right quick. How was it working on a set of Harlem Nights?
Oh yeah, Harlem Nights. That was cool. I was actually pregnant with my son, the one that I had after I got on The Price is Right. I got on The Price is Right. So I knew Eddie Murphy. I'd known him for a while, and he, actually, I didn't have to audition for anything, but he wanted me in the movie. And I knew Red Fox from working with Red Fox. Red Fox and the group, The Love Machine, we worked for him and opened up some of his shows in Las Vegas. When he was working on Loves, we worked with him and traveled with Red Fox a little bit. And he used to call me the girl from Ipanema. He said, "You my girl from Ipanema." And that's what he would refer to me as. And we'd go up to his office and hang out and stuff up there in Hollywood when we were off. And also Richard Pryor, knew Richard really well and had hung out with him a couple of times prior to the movie back in the day. And Ronaldo Ray. Oh man, what a sweetheart. That was a pleasure. I think that was the first time I maybe met Ronaldo on that, because then of course he worked on Friday after that. We did Friday after the Harlem Nights was done, about 5 years after at least. And so it was, and Danny Ayala, it was really cool working with him. He was pretty much out there and pretty big at the time. And Tommy Ford, bless his heart, that was really a big heartbreak when he passed away so suddenly and everything.
Yeah.
But just to work in this industry in and of itself is a pleasure, and it's most of the time it's challenging. Sometimes depending on what you have to do, and some scenes are harder than others. If you have to do something like die or crawl through some mud or do something real tough and rough and everything, I haven't really had to do anything like that. But just to be around, and the lights, the camera, the action, the actors, producers, and all the grips and the people and the makeup people, all the people who make the movie famous and make it really work. It's just magic. And you feel so good. You feel so worthy. You feel so special, having people fuss over you, this and that, and having the camera and shooting your scene, and you want to do the best that you can do. And it was obviously just a great pleasure. I just worked on, I think, one day on that one in particular. Just one, because I just had that elevator scene. Yeah, but it was cool.
Well, that's good. Yeah, so that's good. You got to work with a lot of the greats in the industry. So can you tell the people also about your book, Backstage at the Price is Right, Memoirs of a Barker Beauty?
Right. I should have had it on me, but I'm sure they'll go to my website and they'll get my Instagram and my bio. But Backstage at the Price is Right, Memoirs of a Barker Beauty. I wrote that book, actually, and finished it in 2014. When I was let go from The Price is Right, unjustifiably, Janice and myself, they did make somewhat of a settlement with me and her. And as a result of that, it was an NDA in it. We were not able to talk about anything or why we were let go for, I think, 5 years, 5-year period or something. So I was stewing a bit, thinking, and felt really bad. That Janice and I actually got fired. They didn't call it fired. They said they had offered us, the new producers, Fremantle had offered Janice and I a new opportunity to work on another show for like a model search situation, and we travel and all this. That sounded good at the time when they told us that, but then they said, but however, you will no longer be a Barker Beauty.
Mm.
Like, oh, okay, little stab in the heart, but it didn't really sink in. But here, take this home, look at it, have your attorneys look at the contract, and we look forward to working with you on this new production. I just really didn't think about it. I walked out of there and just really in awe. And it was actually after one of the shows for the season that we got taken into Bob Barker's dressing room to be told this news. Bob Barker was nowhere around, though. It was a new Fremantle producers. So after they said that, I got on the elevator, getting ready to go home. I was just in awe. I was shocked. And then the door opened, some people got on. And I realized on the elevator, I had never pushed the button. I must have been standing in that elevator a good minute or two. I wasn't even thinking about going anywhere. I hadn't pushed not near button. I was on the same floor. I'll always remember that. And then they pushed the floor. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going down. I had my little bag with me and stuff and walked through what we call the Hall of Fame. If you've been in a TV station studio, they got a lot of photos and pictures of people that work there and the networks and The Price is Right and Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful. They shot the show there and everything as well. And then I went out, I said goodbye to the security guard. And I sat in the parking lot, my little VIP parking space, and I cried. I cried so hard. I could not stop crying. I must have sat there for about 10, 15 minutes. Hopefully thinking, you would have thought I lost my best friend. I could not stop crying. I'm like, this is going to be the last time I come through here. I just knew I was going to have a long opportunity or a year's run with the show on The Price is Right. Janice had been on there 29 years. Holly had been on 17 years and Diane 18 years, 20 years. I'm like, I'm just into my 10th year. I still got a lot of good years left ahead of me as a Barker Beauty. Man, it was such a slap in the face. It was really hard to fathom. Yeah. And I finally got myself together and was driving home. I started crying again. And when I got home, I cried again. But my husband said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I told him. And, we couldn't really figure out what happened. We kind of knew. Yeah. But it's kind of a long story now, but it's in the book. Okay. Backstage at The Price is Right, Memoirs of a Barker Beauty. You can pick it up at Barnes & Noble. Not Barnes & Noble, but Amazon. Order it on Amazon. We self-published. My husband helped me to help publish it. But I wrote the book pretty much myself. I did get some help from people to be proofreading it and some input. And I wanted to make sure that I was within the legal ramifications of not going overboard on saying things about people and no defamation or anything. And trying to make sure I put in the facts as I knew them and what have you. So it was quite challenging. It took me maybe a year and a half to write it. And it was great therapy for me. It really was. I needed that outlet because every time I go somewhere to a party or around a lot of people, start drinking a little bit, feel a little sentimental, start thinking about talking about The Price is Right. I start talking about stories about it to people. I said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And then, one day just, bam, stop writing the damn book. So I did. And you know what? The thing is, and I want to speak to everyone out there. Everybody has a story to tell. I don't care if you were born with a silver spoon, if you were born with no spoon at all, if you had a tough family life or you had a good family life, you think you had no problems, the issues in your life, that's fine. Just write about something that's your passion. Write about something that happened in your family, that maybe an incident. Think of the book of being like an hour or 2-hour movie. Think about it like that. You don't have to write a whole bunch of things. You don't have to write your life story. You can write something that's from your life that happened and make it into a story. But writing is so therapeutic. Writing is very good. Writing can be very beneficial, and it could be very financially rewarding. It is kind of interesting now. They have so much that can help people do self-publishing. It is
Yeah.
very difficult to get with a publishing agent and have the book. I probably could have. I know I could have gotten with a publishing agent at some point, a publisher, but I tried a few, and I was ready to just do it. I said, "Let me do my own. I'm a do it myself kind of person." I said, "I know it's available out there to do it." We did research, talked to a lot of people, but self-publishing is hard work the way I did it. But they have a lot of companies out there that can help you.
Yeah,
Of course, you
definitely.
have AI now that will help you write the book with your mind and your thought and
Yeah.
your ideas. I don't care. It could be 10 pages, it could be 100 pages or 100 pages.
Mhm.
Think about what you want to do. Write it down or just talking to your phone. That was my problem. I always thought I had to write everything down. When I did write stuff down and jog it down, I could be out somewhere right on a napkin because certain things would come to me over the years when it happened. So I said, oh, wow. Remember that incident with so such to myself? I'm like, ooh, write down just the bullet point. When Diane did so went to the dressing room, Bob was there, to some things that are of interest. I think that people would be interested in reading. So I did that for the longest time. Boy, I had notes and stuff all over the place. And then don't think you have to write books chronologically if it's
Yeah.
about your life or life story. You don't have to, like from the day I was born and so happened. And I went to school here and something happened to the teacher. And then I went to grade school and then I got married and then I had a kid. You don't have to do that.
Right.
You just work yourself backwards. Say, hey, I was a big failure at doing this so and such and such, but I turned my life around and so because I was born here. You know, there's all kind of ways to make things make sense and that people will really enjoy it and put a little twist and turn in it.
Right.
And, you know, you got to make a few little white lies up and lie about a few things, whatever. Nobody's going to know.
Facts.
Some juice, spill the tea.
Facts. So let me ask you this, Miss Kathleen. You know, you've been doing a lot of stuff. On your journey, what would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Oh, my greatest challenge, probably being married the second time. It was challenging because my career. Now, I married this wonderful guy, I must say. My husband's Terrence Red, second husband. And he was actually my husband now I'm married to. He was married to Bernadette Stannis from Good Times. That was his first wife, and they had a child together, Dior. And I was married first time to Bill Overton, who is now and still married to Jane Kennedy. So there, right, in that itself is a story with how I center around these two beautiful, well-known actresses and mothers and people who we're still friends. Jane and I are still just wonderful, great friends. Everything happens for a reason. Right. And I was blessed to maybe have them have their union the way their relationship happened and me meet this wonderful man I'm married to now. And it's just been a challenge over the years because of my success. Not that he was ever jealous of her stuff or things, but I think over a period of time, I never really paid enough attention to him like I should have, even though I'm just a great loving mother, a person, helping folks out and doing this and that for the other. I think I took for granted a little bit that he needed a little more care and tenderness and affection from me maybe than I was giving him, even though I was still loving, but I was still like gone off, working stuff here, there, and just a lot when you're in the show business like that, out late networking sometimes. I go out by myself or meet people and have meetings and stuff. Because, sometimes in this business, you have to get out there. You have to meet people. You got to network. If you stay home and just, especially years ago, and we're talking several years ago, when I was still on the show on The Price is Right and different things and meeting up with people just to do what I had to do. And he was very good and gracious about me being out and doing that and being around folks and stuff because he understood the nature of the business. So he allowed me a lot of freedom. But sometimes just little things or whatever, how we just used to argue quite a bit. And, I think his lack of listening and a lot of people, and men in particular, have a hard time trying to listen. And not just men, but women, everybody in a relationship. The most important thing is to Let the spouse or person or whoever your mate that you're with, let them express themselves. It's like it being in the court of law and somebody's talking about you and you're being prosecuted and people saying stuff that you know
Yeah.
damn good and well ain't true. And you
Fact.
can't say shit. You
Facts.
can't say nothing. You better not you'll be held in contempt of court. You should think about that like that in a relationship. They could be wrong as rain. Let them talk. Let them talk till they get talked blue in the face. Don't interrupt them, people. Don't just let them talk. It hurts sometimes to hear people say stuff you know you didn't do, but you just let them talk and say it. Sometimes they'll just burn out and forget what the hell they're even talking about. They will. I've seen that like now because they get so sometimes in every relationship, sometimes you get frustrated and start talking and saying things you forget what you're even arguing about. So just out of respect, listen to the person, what they have to say. They may have a little bit of truth or something about what they're trying to convey that might make a difference if you think about it and come from their point of view and think why they're thinking about it, whether it's wrong or not. Something tapped into that person to make them want to say this or argue about certain things. And then you got to do some reverse psychology in a relationship with people, men, girls, boys, whatever. You really have to do some reverse psychology. And after they've spoken, then it's your turn to speak. They should give you the same courtesy.
Fact.
Shut the F up. Let me talk. Let me speak. I'll let you speak. And that's why you have to, it's important you let them speak because they're going to feel real bad if they interrupt you while you're speaking. When you say, I'll let you speak now, give me my respect,
Fact.
please. And somebody in that relationship has to have a level head. Because if everybody's blowing off steam and going off different directions and everything's loud and crazy and punching out the TV or hitting the walls and stuff, then you don't get anywhere. You're counterproductive. Counterproductive. But my husband and I, we got through all that. And that was kind of some challenging times I think we had at some point in time in the day. But we don't do that anymore. We still make fuss. We're funny. People say we should have our own little talk show because we can talk and say things and laugh about each other. And, and we'll turn around within 5 minutes or 30 minutes. We'll be talking like nothing ever happened. I'll say, hey, honey, did you get that thing or something? You're like, yeah, I got it. Because our friends are there around us. It just happened last week. I told him to turn in here, and we were driving in the car. He didn't turn. I said, he said, blew up. He said, I said, well, and then we were like this for maybe about 10 minutes. That was it. Then we started talking about stuff because I changed the subject. I did something different, whatever. I can't hold a grudge. I don't like to hold a grudge. It doesn't work, people. Don't let anybody take your sunshine away. Only you can bring sunshine into your life and keep it and hold it there. And family members of people like my granddaughter, she brings sunshine into my life, my son, family. Let them bring the sunshine in and do the reverse psychology. I'm telling you, when people crying and whining about something, doing something, and have some compassion. It goes a long, long way.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you that on the flip side of that, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment? Well, probably, and people say this, and it is a quote, my children. My daughter, Cheyenne Overton, she is and definitely probably my greatest accomplishment. I love my son, and he's doing well too. Sir Reddington, he's into music. He's a rapper. He's done well. He's doing better, and he's and with my husband and I, we have a company called The R Group Engineering, and he's working with us on that. But my daughter Cheyenne, she and I, well, we've had some differences too when she was growing up. We really did, and for one reason or another. But she has. Now she's 42, and she has a son. He's 17, King Yari Thomas. He's got Down syndrome, and we're helping to raise him. The grandparents, me and Terrence. He's just a wonderful delight. And for her to do what she's doing now, she's been through a lot of different jobs and things. She was a massage therapist, bartender. She always kind of like freelancing. College isn't for everybody. She didn't want to go to college. She barely got out of high school. She probably gonna hate me for saying it, but that's okay. I didn't really like school as myself when I was in school. I wish I had studied harder or longer. But when she got out, she, dibbled and dabbled in a few little career things and modeling, acting, and what have you. But now she's just doing so wonderfully well. She's my best friend right now. We get along so well. We have been for quite some time now. And I think the thing is, and the growth with the family, especially moms and daughters, there's always that little rivalry there, or whatever you want to call it. You don't want to call it that. You want to feel it, especially if you have like a dad or husband or somebody that's treating the daughter a little differently than you, and all
Yeah.
that stuff happens. But that friendship and the love between the mother and daughter is very unique, is very rare. And it's about the give and take and understanding. And now that she's older, she has a better idea as a parent what I was going through raising my children, them, because she's raising children. Most children do when they finally say, oh, damn, now I know why mom was acting like she did and didn't want me to do this, that, and the other, and trying to tell me to do this and that. And now they understand because they have children of their own. Like they say, the sins of the father. It's kind of like that situation. So she's grown so much. She's doing event coordinating with Bridge Street. It's a production company here in Los Angeles. And she's kind of worked her way up the ladder and just right what she wants to be doing, what she likes to do. And they love her there. She's just so reliable and she's so smart in doing. They put together these big concerts and big conventions. And she's right there at the head, at the top of the food chain, right under the boss, man. He loves her. And I'm just so happy now that she's doing what she does. And our relationship is just better than it ever has been.
Nice. So let me ask you this. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to break into the entertainment industry, be an actor and all that?
Yeah, the entertainment industry is a feast or famine for the most part. It's very difficult, very competitive. My advice would be definitely get some training. Either read a book. Richard Lawson has a good book he just put out. My manager, Ro Brooks, he was on the Have and Have Nots with Tyler Perry. He has a good book out about from I'm sorry, it's like, I don't know, he's probably kicked my butt. It's from a stand-in when people from an extra to an actor, like from going into the business as an extra working this, that, and the other, and becoming a real actor. He's got a great book out too. There's a lot of good books out people can learn from, and techniques. Everybody learns differently than each other about how to read a line and how to break it down and how to perceive it, and just go to a couple classes. You can go to classes online, learn some things, and learn how to audition. It's so important when you get in front of the casting people. There is a method and there's a way, wear the right clothing, say the right thing when you get there. Don't say the wrong things out of tune. Be prepared when you get in front of that casting director, trying to know what the character is. You can ask the casting people questions. They want to hear from you. They want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you get it right. The casting people, they want you to be good. They want to hand over a good actor, a couple actors for a callback to the clients. They really do. So don't feel all pent up and scared when you go on with the casting director. They're just there to being a reflection of kind of what the client wants and making sure that you can produce and do it right. They might give you 2 or 3 chances to get it right. So listen to them. And now, of course, there's ways that people are doing self-tapes. We've been doing that since 2020 from the pandemic. So we have all the cameras set up and the lighting and the backdrop. And you can easily sign up for, like, it's called Casting Network, Casting Frontier, and Actors Access. You don't even need an agent right now. You don't. You used to have an agent for them to submit you, and they would only get the calls that for certain people in your category. And just make sure you're in the right category when you sign up for these things, and put in your profile and the nice 2 or 3 nice pictures, one for acting, TV, movies, one for commercials. Because acting, commercials, and all that, doing commercials is a little different. And how you do things and look into the camera, and you want to deliver things to people because you're selling things when you do a commercial, whereas opposed when you're doing an acting or theatrical, you're really focusing on that person, and you better not look at that camera, honey. So it took me a minute to get used to that, even though, because when I was on The Price is Right, I would always play into the camera because, like, hold up a product and and then, but I mean, I had been acting before that, but just to get back into my acting and doing stuff after I left The Price is Right, I could feel myself from time to time if I was doing a film or movie or something, looking into the camera just a little bit, They didn't notice, and I kind of throw my eye level off a little bit differently. So it's a lot of variables and trying to be in the industry and get education first. Get a certificate doing something. Don't quit your day job. Don't just go into it all gung ho and thinking you're gonna be the next best Halle Berry or Denzel Washington. You can have high hopes and aspirations, apparitions. It's a ghost. Now, you can have high expectations, but be able to back it up and learn your craft. Know what you're doing. Know that everything ins and outs of what it all details, because it can be very good, and definitely there's good money in the industry and that pays well. And there's a lot of good talent out there. So give it a try. You got to try it. If you have it in your heart and your soul, you may be good, you may be better than you think, and you may be terrible. So, do that. But get on those casting places and they'll call, send you an email saying, hey, you're perfect for this part. Look at it, see it. You put your picture in the profile because you already have your size and everything and little resume. And then if they want, they said, okay, we'll want you to do a audition, self-tape. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. Get like I'm here now. I would do a self-tape. You can even have a cheat sheet on the other side that you can look at and read. But somebody needs to read with you, if it's a reader, don't try to do 2 lines. And they prefer people off camera to read with you. My husband reads with me a lot, and he thinks he's going to get paid when I get the commercial. He said, "Didn't I help you do that? Don't I get some pay?"
Like, no.
Which is cool because I do have a commercial running right now. I don't know if you've seen it. It's for Amazon, and it's called Amazon, the Housewives of Amazon. It's an excellent commercial with me and saying, oh, a toast, and everybody's throwing red wine and stuff. I'm sitting in my house at the table, and then I'm ordering stuff right on Amazon. And then I get up at the end and go out and get my package and everything. It is really excellent, very nice commercial.
Okay. Do you have anything else coming up that you want to promote?
And also I have coming up another commercial. You're going to see, I just finished a couple weeks ago. It's for Hyundai car. Okay. Car commercial. And it's me and 2 others, my sisters, and we're sitting in a cafe, and I have the lead lines, and it's like we're chatting it up. I'm saying, Kathy, Martha Ann's brother said that his sister D, said that he saw Sidney and his wife valeting at that new restaurant downtown, girl. And they had clothes was expensive and everything, and all this and stuff, buying this new car. I said, but that's nothing. I went to his house last week, and eggs, so many eggs. And my sister said, he got egg money. I said, girl, evidently he's been doing something. It's going to be a great one. And I bet you and guarantee you, next time within a couple months, everybody's going to be saying, you got egg money? You got egg money. That's the whole key, because eggs are so expensive. You got some eggs money, and you got eggs, honey. You doing okay. So they said it should be out and going to be shown during the NBA championship. You'll be seeing at the commercial. Okay. And during the football season, that particular one for Hyundai. And that's a good one. And I'll still have my Amazon running. So I'm real high about all this now with the commercials and everything being shown, and a lot of good stuff happening. And I just continue working when it comes, doing auditions. I'm still auditioning quite a bit. And some things are for you, some things aren't. And, I do a little bit here and there, and just enjoying my life right now. And, semi-retired, enjoying the family. So I'm blessed.
All right. So let the people know if they want to get in contact with you, see what you got going on. Let them know how they can get in contact with Kathleen.
Yeah. Basically, I want everybody out there. I'm trying to break 100,000 views. People on my Instagram. I have gotten quite a few recently, just from the Friday and doing some other little things. You'd be surprised. I know when you get on those reels with the Instagram, when I was in front of the Friday house, telling people it's the 30th anniversary, I got a lot of hits on that one. But please follow me on Kathleen Bradley _ Mrs. Parker. You'll see it. Kathleen Bradley _Mrs. Parker. Follow me. Tell a friend. Help me break through. I want to at least get 100,000 followers by the end of June. And I'm close to it right now. I think I got like 70,000. So
Okay.
tell a friend.
We gonna get her there. Yeah, we gonna get her there. So.
And I do have a website as well as KathleenBradley.tv. So that's my website, which I need to upgrade and get the book, get everything, whatever. And I do, you know what? Also, I've been working on a new store with some T-shirts and things. So I got to put the link in my bio, but I do have some new Miss Parker T-shirts and some stuff coming out real soon. That will be in the link in my bio, folks. So become a friend.
Okay. So my last question that I love to ask all my guests: when it is all said and done and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about Kathleen Bradley?
What I want to be remembered for? Okay, I got it here. You know what? I think just for myself and high energy, as you can see, I got good energy. I've been blessed with it as old as I am. Sometimes I get tired and weary, and I love to play golf, and my old body ain't the same as it used to be. But it seems like when I get in front of the camera, in front of people always ask me for advice because I'm very honest with them, sometimes brutally honest, but I just enjoy sharing myself and thoughts with people, and I'm a people person. And as much as I do love my privacy and home and not have to do anything if I don't, but I rise to the occasion. She rises to the occasion, and I do that. And I don't like to let people down. I don't make promises I can't keep, and I just will be right there. I would give, if I have $10, I would give you 9 if I had to, if you needed it. Just keep $1 for myself. And I've done that before, believe me. People now, Auntie, I just need this, I need that. And I'm like, it's only money. I've been blessed. If you need it, really, just don't misuse me and abuse me. But I'm just, there for people.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Mrs. Kathleen Bradley. Like I said, you was one of my favorite people growing up, iconic, and I love your energy. I love everything that you got going on, and I appreciate this interview.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I would definitely be in touch. I will let you know when I drop this. I'm
okay.
I'm gonna add you on Instagram. I'm gonna be one of your followers up at this one.
Right.
Get you closer to that 100,000.
Do you need me to do a tag or anything? You're just gonna roll it.
I'm gonna roll it.
Okay.
All right. Now you have a good day, and thank you again.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.